Know the importance of spending more days practicing your problem solving to increase content knowledge. So some students say that they're just not good in math, and that's why they don't perform well on the MyLab test. It's just the way that it is, right? Never been good in math. But most are really reluctant to admit that they only devote 1 to 2 days a week on the subject and on practicing. And oftentimes, those 1 to 2 days really are only 2 hours total for the entire week, which is definitely not enough time to improve problem solving. And that's not enough time even for a student who is great in math. Those that become math majors and are great in math, they devote way more time to problem solving and practicing. So just think about that. So now, in order for your brain to really grow, to improve with problem solving, it requires you to practice a new skill many times. And for those that completed our very first discussion assignment, you did the meet and greet at the beginning of the semester, you'll remember you had to do a reading on Your Brain Can Learn Math. And it kind of talks about the process of how your brain learns and what really goes on. And then it gives you hopefully a clearer view as to, well, this is what really happens when you're feeling like you're not learning something or you're not remembering it. And so there was a part in the reading where it talked about when you practice a skill just once or twice, the connections between the neurons in your brain, those brain cells are very weak. And if you don't practice it again, those dendrites at those connection points wither and die back, and you've forgotten that new skill. But if you practice a new skill many times, then the dendrites, which are those branches that come out from those neurons, those brain cells, the dendrites for that skill become coated with a protein. And what actually happens is the more you practice it, right, the smoother and the thicker that coating gets, and those signals move fast, and now thinking can occur more quickly and easily. And you remember that skill for a long time because the connections are very strong. So think about it. When you practice a skill just once or twice, you will forget that skill. You must practice a new skill many times. Many times is definitely not just 1 or 2 days a week. All right. So I'm not talking about 5 days a week, spending 7 or 8 hours practicing and studying one topic, even though that's what it takes for some people. I am really talking about changing your perspective on the time you spend. Changing your perspective means instead of the 1 to 2 days, you just try to finish up work, get some stuff done. Spread out your time that you spend each week on the course. And this goes for all courses, but particularly with a math course like this or a physical science type of course. You want to spend 4 days a week. But here's what you're going to do. Each of those 4 days, what you do is you reduce the time you spend. So you don't spend 2 hours on a day and then 2 hours the next day and another 2 hours. You just want to spend between 35, 45 minutes each day of those 4 days a week. Wiggle out 40 minutes each of the 4 days that you spend with math, and you will find that you'll be practicing those skills many times over. Your problem solving is going to improve. Each day you work on those new skills and those questions, you'll find you will remember them more. You won't have to warm up and read through the notes all over again from scratch. So that's how you really improve your problem solving. It's not just telling yourself, well, I'm just going to turn to the person that loves math, but it's really just devoting the correct amount of time each week on the concepts, and you're practicing. And remember, you're not going to improve problem solving by watching. You can only improve by problem solving. So yes, watch the videos, take the correct notes on how to solve the problems, but you want to practice problems over and over. Do MyLab questions, get them correct, and then answer them again as a similar question option. But take 4 days a week. Find 40 minutes each of those days. So spread it out. You want to chunk your time and make the time you spend worth it. When you cram, and remember in the reading, it talked about cramming, right? When it talked about right here, also, remember that it takes time for dendrites to grow, right? It takes time for those connections to grow. Trying to cram in several new concepts and skills at the last minute is not possible. Your dendrites simply cannot grow that quickly. You can't expect to develop huge muscles by lifting weights for just one evening before lifting competition. In the same way, you must practice study techniques in order to strengthen the growth of the connections you make when you're learning a new skill. All right, so you may not feel this, but just spending 2 hours a week really is kind of cramming, right? And especially if you think about just doing that for preparing for a test. So for those of you who only spent like an hour or two working through problems on the practice test, that really wasn't enough. You should have spent more time, and you will this next time around. All right. And so continue on to completing your reading for the 4 things you must do to improve your grade, and watch the next video.